Hey y'all, this is Erica with Students of Life Podcast. If you're finding value in the Students of Life Podcast, we'd love your support. Your support allows us to grow and continue bringing you meaningful content. You can show your support by checking out our exclusive merchandise at studentsoflifepodcast.com. Every purchase not only gives you something unique to wear, but also directly fuels the podcast growth. Prefer to donate? That's cool. Just hit the donate button on our homepage. Every bit of support helps us expand, reach more listeners, and dive even deeper into the topics that matter most to you.
Welcome to the Student of Life Podcast. I am your host, Courtney, and with me is my wife, Erica. Say hello, wife.
Hello, wife.
Really, is this how we starting already?
Yes, it is, always.
Okay, all right. Well, you guys, again, this is my wife, my hero in training, so so please, she's working on this a little bit, so.
That's very polite of you. Thank you. I'm Erica.
It's good.
Not hero in training.
Oh,
not sidekick.
Are you sure? I mean, because I've been working with you a lot on this one.
I am positive, and your work is not working.
Is it not?
It is not.
Well, I'm trying my best, so I'm being a bad hero. Since you're my hero in training?
You're a bad teacher.
Oh, damn. Okay, well, I gotta go back to the drawing board.
Wrap it up. Let's try again.
All right, well, let's get this show on the roll. And so this episode is about free will versus fate. We honestly don't know how long this episode is going to take, but we're going to get it all out the best that we can possibly do it. Are you ready, wife?
I'm ready.
Oh, well, my bad. Not wife. Are you ready, Erica?
I'm ready.
Because you're your own person, right? All right, but all jokes aside, I really want to start this episode off on with something positive for sure. It is something that, you did here recently, with one of our neighbors. Excuse me. You did with our neighbors, with the baby bed.
Oh, yeah.
You did something. What I say is great because I would have tried to sell it to him. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. And you gave it to him, and I actually appreciate that way more than ever selling it to him because it was way more beneficial. So I just want to at least say, that was an awesome thing that you did, for the neighbors.
Well, thanks. I mean, we got our use out of it, right? We've had that bed for 13, 14 years.
Yeah, we got more use out of it with our second child than we ever did the first child.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I guess, that's a little bit of fate too. Whoever would have thought that we kept that bed just for the second child and not the first one.
Not me, because I didn't plan on having a second one.
Well, we talked about it. You talked about it. Oh, here we go. Here we go. But regardless, you did a great thing with the neighbors, though.
Thank you.
I want to say that.
She was very happy, and that made me very happy. It really did.
Yeah.
The bed went to somebody who was right around the corner, someone who was actually in need. And I think I told you I got to meet the little baby that day.
Yeah,
he ran outside. The baby did not know me, never seen me before. But he ran up to me and wanted me to pick him up, and he gave me the sweetest hug. And I was like, oh, my heart.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. So I'm glad.
I was, because you know how I feel about goodwill. I don't like the business model and how they generate the majority of the income and where it goes, But that's just me. And I'd rather have given it away to someone who was actually in need of it than someone who was, selling to make a profit off of it.
And that's exactly what I did. That's why I gave it to her.
Yeah, so you did a great job. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did a great job, sweetie. All right. So as we get into this episode about fate and free will, what is fate? What is free will?
So fate is the development of events beyond a person's control, regarded as determined by a supernatural power. But the word fate also traces back to the Latin word fatum, meaning that which has been spoken. Now, I have a question about that.
Okay.
Does that mean that if someone never tells you what's going to happen to you, is it still fated to happen? Now, on the flip side of that, we have free will, right? Which is the power of acting without constraint, or of the necessity of fate. It's the ability to act at one's discretion.
Well, like the majority of, excuse me, like the majority of things that I've come across and or read with that first question, I honestly believe that, those things, majority of the time, wouldn't happen depending on what it is. Depending on what it is, I mean, it was just like in The Matrix. This is an example when she told him, hey, watch out for the vase. When she said, watch out for the vase, he said, what vase? He turned around and knocked it down. She said, that vase. He said, but what's going to bake your cookie is, would you still have knocked it down if I hadn't said anything?
Yes.
Right. And that is the story of the majority of things that happen within Greek mythology.
Yes.
So
everyone always goes to see the oracle or the fates.
Right.
And then after that, they go on this long epic journey, and whatever happens to them is predestined at that time, I guess you could say.
No, it's not necessarily just predestined, but I was always concerned with the fact that what they always tried to do was always try to avoid the things that the oracle always talked about. That was the biggest problem that ever happened within the story. The oracles always played this part of, telling them what was going to happen, knowing they were going to try to avoid it, and it was going to happen anyway. Like, the people thought that they were going to avoid it because they knew what was going to happen, not knowing that they were putting in place.
They were taking the steps to make those exact things happen.
The event happen.
Yeah.
That's what they were actually doing.
Yeah.
And I found that interesting, but I think I found it even more interesting in our life. And we will get into that more so, within this episode. Hopefully, if we don't forget it at this point. But it was like here recently, like with recent events. And because you really don't like talking about it. And we talked about it once, what happened on Trinity's birthday.
The lake.
At the lake. But, of course, anyone who's listened to this, you don't know who Trinity is. Trinity is our first daughter. No, our first kid. Let's put it like that. And she's now 12 years old. And we went with her, we took her on a boating trip. To Sardis Lake in Mississippi. That's what we did. And the event that we're talking about that Erica doesn't really care about talking about is the fact that she and I know, event took place that I could have died. Now I was going to, but it was very likely that I could have, and that was the event that I was in the water. But before I say I was in the water, what was going on, it was a storm front kind of coming through.
Yeah, the wind gusts came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. But in Memphis, it was raining at that point, though. It was raining, but it came through where we were, and the water started to get a little choppy. And while we were rafting, I decided to still get in the water. I'm like, you know what? Okay, I might be all right. Against my better judgment. Because that water was choppy, I shouldn't have done it. I did it even though I shouldn't have done it, And so we get in the water, having a great time. Erica getting real crazy with the boat. She's a crazy boat driver. You are. Nobody wanted me to drive the boat because I was playing it too safe throughout the day.
It's your fault, not mine. We had fun when I was driving.
Hey, yeah, we did, And I cared about people's life, but...
We had life jackets on. We were fine.
That's okay, but, you still, I cared about life a little bit more than you did. But...
Tomato.
But with that being the case, I fell off the raft, which was part of it. It was part of it. And when I fell off the raft, and it's like the moment I hit that water, it's like the water got worse.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
It did. Out of nowhere. The waves from, I think it was coming from the south. Mm-hmm. It was like a south wave. It was coming from the south. And I could barely, if I turned my head to the right, I could not take water down. That water hit me 2 times. It hit me 2 times. I was like, man, I can't take this. I couldn't take it. And I know you remember that. I remember it because I told you. Mm-hmm. The water hit me twice. And as the water hit me, I was like, okay, Courtney, you can't take too many more of these waves. You just can't. And so I waved you. Mm-hmm. I waved you. But the boat wasn't moving. Mm-hmm. The boat wasn't moving. And just to put this in perspective, that boat was about 45 yards away. And
At least, yeah.
And I think I'm being generous with how far that boat was away.
Yeah.
And so I waved you, and the boat wasn't moving. So it was a decision that had to be made. Hey, you got to get to this boat. Because if you don't swim to this boat, you won't survive. And so I had to swim diagonal against the waves. Swim diagonal against the waves. And it was tough because every time I turned my head to the right, the waves were still hitting me because they were that strong. They were that strong, and I couldn't stop. Even though I wasn't trying to take the water in, the water was still coming down my nose. I didn't tell you that, but it was a fact. But I kept swimming. I swam until I got back to that boat because I knew, based off how it happened, even if you wanted to come out there and save me, you couldn't because we had 2 kids on the boat pretty much. Yeah, Maddie was 23, but
She's still a kid.
She was still a kid.
Yeah.
She was still a kid. You couldn't come and save me. And even if you did come and get me, both of us may not have made it back to that boat. It's a big possibility, but that's exactly what went through my head. So the only person in that scenario who could save me was me. So at the end, I made it back to the boat. And I questioned after that one. I questioned a lot. You know, was that fate or was that free will?
You made a choice.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. And whoever listened to this, you know, might be wondering this because of, well, you made it. Well, I did make it. And was that my fate? I don't know. Because I had bad experiences with water previously.
You're not a strong swimmer at all.
I'm not a strong swimmer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I swim good enough just to save my life. But even then, you still could have died. I could have died with a life jacket on. Because in that situation, it was like flash drowning or flush drowning. It was one of the two where, you know, you're not being taken underwater, but the water's hitting you so frequently where
you can't breathe.
You can't breathe. Mm-hmm. And it could have happened. Mm-hmm. But 4 days later, after I talked to you, that's when, you know, it really hit me how bad of a situation that I was actually in. I said, hey, when I waved, I said, hey, why didn't you come? And you told me, I couldn't see you.
I couldn't.
You said, I couldn't see you. You know, and that one was like, well, damn.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't see you, and because I couldn't see you, I wasn't going to drive that way.
Yeah. And so the whole thing is the only way out of it was me saving me in that scenario. Either that was going to be my day to leave here or, you know, yeah.
You used your free will?
Or it was will. It was just my will. It was just my power to not give up, my will to not give up, the will to fight.
Will to live. That's what it was.
Yeah, the will to live, correct.
Mm-hmm. It's a choice you made.
Yeah, it was a choice I made. You know, but if it was a few things that saved me that day, it was this right here. For one, I was not, in my head, you ain't dying on your daughter's birthday.
Not her 12th birthday.
No, not her 12th birthday. That would not be something she remembered.
No.
Ever.
No.
And then the other one was, I didn't panic. I didn't fear death.
You never have.
I never have. And not like that, no way. Because I had a little bit of control in it. I had some, you know, control in, you know, the outcome of that one. I can fight for it. You know, sometimes you can get caught in scenarios where you can't fight for it, where against your will. You know what I'm saying? But that one I could fight for.
Yeah, but even still, like I said, you made a decision, right?
Yeah.
Because you could have waited until I figured out how to get the boat there. You could have continued to take it in water, and you probably would have drowned because those waves, I mean, they came out of nowhere, right? Like we were there, we were having a good time, you were in the water, and it was, these normal waves, and then out the blue, as soon as you fell off the raft, I don't know where those damn waves came from.
I have no idea. Ergo, I mean, but we know how bad those waves were because when we were heading back out, and
they were pushing the boat back.
It was pushing the boat back, and the waves that was hitting the boat was actually flooding
the boat.
Well,
not flooding,
not
splashing.
Flooding, but it covered the entire floor of the boat.
Yeah,
that's how strong those waves were.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy though?
What's that?
Like once we got you out of the water, got you back on the boat, you were all right, and we started to head out. I know it felt like a long time, but checking my phone, it was only about, the whole thing happened in the span of about 10 minutes. Get you on the boat, get you calm, get me calm.
What
right?
you mean get me calm? I was fine.
That's what I said, get me calm, right?
No, you said you first.
And then to start heading out. But once the wind was gone, because it never rained, so once the wind was gone, the clouds broke, the sun was shining, and we hung out for about another, 3 hours?
Yeah, we did.
So still in the water, still having a good time, opposite side of the lake, but still had a great time. Nothing ever happened.
But you know what? You know why I jumped back in the water that day? Not because I really cared to jump back in the water. Honestly, I want to go fishing again.
You were the only person that wanted to fish.
Yeah, but you know why I jumped back in the water? Because I knew they was afraid. I knew it bothered them.
Yeah.
And if I didn't get back in there, they never would have.
No, they wouldn't have.
So,
But they would have been over.
But I wasn't afraid no way. So I'm like, no, we don't end the day like this. This is not how we end the day. This is not the fate of our day. This day was going to end on our own terms, and not because of something that happened like that. But something that kind of, I'm not going to say, well, it did kind of bother me when I thought about it. Say for instance, it was this, if fate was going to take me that day, right? Mm-hmm. If it had taken Courtney that day, it wouldn't have, if the Sisters of Fate want to clip the strings that day, it wouldn't have been because, we want to take this guy because he's afraid of death. No, that's not it. We're going to take him because he's going to leave things undone. He wants to complete some things, and we're going to make sure that he doesn't get those things done. Whatever he wants to rectify, he'll never be able to do it. It'll all be in the past. It'll only be a wish. So with this, I guess, argument of free will versus fate, what do you think about?
Well, as you know, I am not a believer in fate. Just based off my life in general, right? And this is just me personally. It's not about anybody else. This is not about anyone that I know, anything I've seen. It just simply falls back onto, based off my childhood, up until adulthood, what I should have been, I did not become, right? So I definitely believe in free will. I believe that we have the choice and the option to change any outcome of our life, right? Of course, without the exception of like terminal cancer or terminal disease. You can't change that, right? Nothing you can really do about that. But as long as you are healthy, sound mind, sound body, able to get shit done, your fate is your own. It's whatever you make it, right? Like, there's not one person walking that could ever look at me and tell me, Erica, your fate is going to be, all right, let's dial it back just a second. Based on the area I came from, right? And my background, how I grew up, being raised by my grandparents, not having parents there, type of friends I had who I gravitated toward. I should have very much been in a quote unquote that single moms club and shit like that. That's what folks would have said, right? But I took a different path because I chose differently. I chose not to be like those people who are around me. And I refuse to believe that the dice of my life resides in someone or something else's hands, right? Like, if I'm going to do this, then me and the universe, we're going to rock together. And in rocking together, we're going to make this shit happen the way that I want it to. The way that I want my life to go is exactly how it's going to go. There's not some larger force out here telling me what I'm going to be, what I should be, how I should become. I refuse to believe that. I don't feel like that my name is written in the book somewhere saying, oh, this is Erica's end. Nah, that I don't subscribe to at all.
I agree partially. Philosophically, they call this, determinism versus free will. I'm not a hard determinist because I believe both of them exist, and they technically say both can't coexist at the same time. At the same time.
Yeah.
If you believe in one, you can't believe in the other.
Right. It has to be either or.
It has to be either or.
Yeah.
But I believe that they both exist, even though I believe that, things that are predetermined have a higher probability of happening. But I do believe that, free will is a thing also.
Correct.
At moments in time.
Correct.
At moments in time. But, you are, to me, an anomaly. Because I've been with you for a long time. And I've seen it. And you know exactly what I've said about it.
My dumb fucking luck.
Your dumb fucking luck. Right. How things played out. And this is the one thing that has actually, boggled me over the years, because I like philosophy. And I'm like, everything, I'm not saying that you didn't have your challenges. That's not what I'm saying. but how things fell into place. I thought it was one of the most phenomenal things I've ever witnessed. And I'm not saying it because you're my wife. I've never seen it.
Right. Well, you've never seen it, never really read about it, right?
No.
That's the thing. But again, I honestly feel like that is because from the time I was able to make my own decisions, I did. You know, it was, oh, Erica's such a rebel. Erica has an attitude problem. Erica doesn't do what she's told. You know, it was all those things, right?
I've been trying to tell you what to do for a long time. You still don't damn do it. Damn.
And I'm not going to.
Damn. All right. Okay.
But, but you know, but seriously though, like me not following the path that anybody laid out for me is what got me to where I am today. I mean, that's just being honest, right? There's no blueprint I've ever followed. There's been a point in my time where everything fell apart and I had to pick it all back up. Like there was a point in time where I literally had nobody, nothing, right? Like I had you, but outside of you, I had nobody and I had nothing, right? So that's why I'm such a firm believer in sometimes things have to fall apart in order for you to put them back together. And that's not always a bad thing. Like going through it, it feels like, you know, it's one of those things like, God, why is this happening to me? What did I do? Why do I deserve this? Right? And a lot of people give up at that point. But I am so stubborn and so bullheaded that it becomes I refuse to be what everyone says I should be. Or I refuse for my outcome to be anything that anyone predicted.
And also, sometimes your fate, I'm not going to say sometimes, screw that. The majority of the times, our fate it is tied to the people that surround us.
Yes.
It is, and we have to accept this.
Yes.
We have to. You know, my fate ain't just my fate. My fate is tied to Erica. Erica's fate is tied to Courtney.
Yes, the friends that we hold.
The friends, all of it. It all goes together. So I can only be as good sometimes as the things that's happening around me. Or I can be as good as I want to. But if I have some people that surround me that's not that good, my fate is still tied to them. You know how many people's fate were tied to people who they was driving with, who never killed anybody but went to jail for the rest of their damn life?
Yes, for just being in the car with
just
someone.
Just being in the car with someone.
Yes, or right on the flip side of that, right? Somebody who went for a joyride when, let's say, maybe they weren't supposed to, right? And now you're in the car with someone, you have a wreck, and now you're both dead.
Yeah.
You sealed your fate in that moment, right? That's what folks would say. Like, well, his fate was sealed when he got into that car. Now, just because I don't believe in fate for myself, right? That doesn't mean that I can completely explain it away either. Right?
What do you mean?
All right, example. Now, as I've said, I feel like free will has led me to where I am, right? Not fate, not determinism, none of that shit, right?
Okay.
You can say what you want to say.
Okay, all right.
Right? But again, this is my existence and what I have lived. You've still just been someone on the outside looking in, right? You've been here, most of it, but you very much so been on the outside looking in, just like a lot of other people.
I'm all knowing, baby.
I almost said something you can't say on the podcast. But now on the flip side of that, right, we can use friends, right? Friends from your high school, friends from mine. We have friends, both of us, whose childhoods were just fucked up, right? And you've heard it. I've heard it. We've all heard somebody tell somebody, you know, well, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to either be dead or in jail. Religious people say that's them speaking life or speaking death on somebody, right? But philosophers will say, oh, well, you determine their fate. I don't see a difference there, honestly, right? Because so now I'm doing this shit I'm doing every day, and in doing this thing that I'm doing every day, whether it's out on the street corner, you know, selling drugs, robbing folks, whatever I'm choosing to do, right? In the back of my mind, my mama told me if I don't stop this shit, I'm gonna be dead or in jail. Which one's gonna happen? Well,
with that right there, whether they listen to the mother or not, and I know what we said from the beginning, you know, about what the oracle say, you know, they speak the fate about what's supposed to happen or what's supposed to transpire, and then it still happens. In these cases, These aren't just stories. These are real life events.
Yes.
That are happening. So whether that mother said something or not, that was still going to happen. With this scenario, it was still going to happen. Because there was a bunch of events, cause and effect, determinism, that led up to it. And there was nothing that he was going to do to escape it unless he had the will to do so. And the majority of us don't.
Right. So again, right, as what I've been saying since the get-go is that shit's free will.
That wasn't free will.
It's not free will. So he didn't, or they, your friends, my friends, they didn't make a decision to keep doing what the hell they were doing?
They made a decision which caused everything to still transpire. But they made the decision based on everything that happened to them previously. Everything that they went through, all the causes, effects that made them make the decision in the moment.
All right, well, check this out, right?
Did they have the will to change their mind? Yes, they did, but they did not. But they were a victim. They were a victim of determinism. They were.
There's a quote by Terry Pratchett. I read it to you earlier, and we laughed about it, right?
Yeah.
It says, most gods throw dice, but fate plays chess, and you don't find out until it's too late that he's been playing with two queens all along. Mm-hmm. Right? So let's just say, in this situation, right, you got somebody who is essentially gambling with their own life. Because you got one or two options, death or jail. It's a gamble, right? They're both terrible fucking outcomes. Like, there's not a good outcome there at all.
No.
But now let's just say, the whole time you're doing this, your pieces are being lined up in the background by somebody else. Or by something else, not somebody, by something else, right? And that being the case, by the time you figure out that all of your pieces are being laid out by something else, a greater force, or whatever people want to call it, right? By the time you find out you're either laying on the pavement bleeding out because you got shot, stabbed, beat to death, whatever, or you're now in jail, you're doing some kind of fed time. I'm saying fed time because fed time is bad. It's day for day, right? You got 35, 40 years. And you're 35 years old.
Mm-hmm. But this is what I call, a divine conspiracy. You say, hey, these two things don't, these two words don't work together. Maybe not. That's fine. But whatever's happening here, this is not just a human doing. Do I think that some of us are playing a role in it because they understand it? Yeah, I do. Maybe there's conspiracies in me, and I'll go with that. Fine. But this right here is much bigger than all of us.
So you believe that there's gods or something bigger playing a role in all this, and fate, and they're battling to see what's gonna happen?
Busy Bone said this was Heaven's movie.
Really?
Yep.
The craziest bone is the one you want to quote right now?
Okay, maybe not the best example, but it's still Heaven's movie. But
you bet I'll say the Truman Show.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But overall, I believe that we are experiencing something or playing a part in something that's much bigger than us. When we're talking about fate and the outcomes of our life, yeah, I really do.
So divine conspiracy in all things.
In majority of things, yes, I do.
So what is outside of the scope of divine conspiracy?
Can you? I don't.
I'm saying based on what we know, you and I know how you define divine conspiracy, right? You said most things, not all things. So what is outside that scope?
Divine conspiracy. Okay, we're dealing with a kid who's been messed with when he was young or when she was young. Okay.
They molested?
Yeah, molested. Okay. Well, we'll use that. They was molested, and then they never made the choice of who and what they were. And then, as they become teenagers, they think that, hey, you know what? I like girls, or I like boys because of what happened. Okay. And they never got a chance to pick and or choose. And now they're adults and they still believe and they still think that way. Mm-hmm. It still works and it still played out the same way. They never got to make a choice along the way of who or what they were. It was made up for them from the beginning.
Okay.
And so to me, the divine conspiracy in that is the fact that they were supposed to be there from the beginning. And they never had the choice to make on their own. That, it wasn't just a person that did that. That happened outside the scope of the individual's life. Because even that the individual who enacted that deed and made them turn to that, something happened to them too. So it was outside the scope of just human deeds that did that. We are who we are, or we experience the things that we experience because it's much bigger than us. We don't always get to determine the outcome of our life all the time. We don't. It's much bigger than us.
So based on, I just want to make sure I'm on the same page as you, right? So based on what you just said, that means that somewhere along the line, it was predetermined that this child will somehow cross the path of this predator. And this predator will turn that child either into a whore, a man whore, a gay guy, a lesbian woman, or just someone who does not matter, like extremely bisexual, hypersexual, right? And that's their fate. That was their fate from childhood.
Based on how things played out, unfortunately, yeah. And I don't like that. I don't like the idea of that. No, I don't. But that's how it ends for a lot of people. They never get they never change. They never get the choice to say, I'm something more than what something created me to be. It's sad, but it's the damn truth.
Okay, so an intermediary there could also be that person getting therapy, right? And healing from those things.
Yes.
So
yes.
now we have taken into account that now we have enacted our free will and completely changed fate.
That is correct.
Correct?
That is correct. But we also need to understand this. Is this right here. The things that we go through, we're not supposed to know that we can't fix them. We're supposed to believe we are.
Yes.
We're supposed to believe that we're supposed to be able to fix them. But in all reality, a majority of times, we're not supposed to be able to fix them. The things that we go through, they're supposed to be...
It's supposed to break you.
It's supposed to break you, and it's supposed to be the outcome that is expected the majority of the time. Only a few of us get away. Only a few. Everybody don't get away.
Most people don't, if we're being honest.
We don't.
Right.
Most people get caught up in a life of determinism, cause and effect. And they stay there for the rest of their damn life. I don't like the fact that that's the outcome for people's life. I don't like that. But I can't escape the patterns and the reality of it either. Because as you love free will, you believe in free will.
I do believe in free will.
You believe in it. But a lot of us don't enact it.
Now, just because people don't enact it doesn't mean it's not real.
But it is real. But the only way that it becomes real to me, with my theory, is that we have to make a decision that's so big that it can't help but to change the trajectory of where we're heading. Absolutely.
And I live by that because I did it.
Right. It has to be that big.
Yes.
It got to be so different from what I've experienced that there's no, that it's no relation to what happened.
It has to literally be life altering.
It has to.
Yes.
The decision has to be decisive.
Yes.
That's it.
But we know someone who did that.
Who?
We know a few people have done things like that, right? Like, well, just back to me, right? I feel like when you take the power from somebody else, right? Or the power from somebody's words. We'll just say that, right? The power from somebody's words. When you step out on your own and you pretty much say, fuck what you've said about me. Fuck what has happened to me. I'm not letting that determine who and what I'm going to be as I age, right? Or what about you have a kid who was molested, right? From an early age. Because usually, the grooming starts around 4, 5, 6 years old because people are disgusting, right? So the grooming starts then this child is abused, right? For years. Then you have this child who gets to say middle school, high school, even before they go to college. And they say, you know what? I'm not doing this shit. I'm not doing this. I'm not letting what happened to me define who the hell I am. Right? That's a free will. That's where free will comes in. That's a choice they made because they should have and very well could have been a victim and it could have been explained away. Could have been. And that would be fair, right? Because what happened to them is really fucked up and is wrong, right? So the fate that someone laid out for them, they didn't choose. They didn't take that laying down. They legit said, bet, let's fight then, let's go. It happens.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
It happens.
Yeah.
Right? But again, that's purely free will because fate says that child should have either been another kind of a predator, right? Like
A sexual deviant.
a sexual deviant,
Or a molester himself.
or a complete recluse.
Yeah.
Because that happens, right?
It does.
You know, and one of the greatest musical minds of our time, R. Kelly, is a sexual deviant because of what happened to him in his childhood.
And he couldn't overcome it.
I'm not saying what that man did was right. That's not what I'm saying. But someone sealed his fate for him early on.
That's determinism.
Right.
Cause, effect. He did not have.
He never told anybody. He never got help. He never had resources.
That is correct.
Right?
Yep.
But this other kid over here also didn't tell anybody, didn't have help, didn't have any resources.
Did it on his own.
Because he enacted his will to be different. So that is why I stand firm on free will. We all have a choice.
We do.
We all have a choice.
But this does not stop the fact that we fall majorly to fate.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
To determinism. And also to get back to that question you asked, because I know I didn't answer it in full, because I had to ponder over it for a second. And it was a good ass question. You know, it was like, what is outside of
the scope of divine
conspiracy. And honestly, nothing.
Really?
I'm sorry, but I had to think of it. Nothing is outside of that. Because if it's bigger than us, then it already knows it all.
So it's all encompassing.
Yeah. I don't think nothing is outside of this divine conspiracy. I honestly believe that, like some men and women collectively, big powers, they understand this. And even they, of course, aren't free from it.
No, they're
either.
not.
But they understand it and they keep people at bay with it.
So
if that makes sense.
It does.
I hope that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. So what you're saying is people that have the powers that be, we'll just say, right? Because I can't speak for other cultures or other countries, but in America, the powers that be, they are out here sealing people's fate.
Yeah, but because fate is also those things that are outside of our control.
That's exactly what it is.
It's outside of our control.
Yes.
And so we don't see it. We don't see it, but it is happening as we speak.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? All the time. Every day. All right, we'll use this. We're from Memphis, okay? We grew up in the city of Memphis. We saw what it became from our youth up until today.
You mean we went from drug dealer music to drug selling music? I mean, drug using music?
Right.
Yeah.
But we'll just use the city kind of like in general. The schools were much different then than they are now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And so I'm not saying this to be negative, but it progressively have gotten worse.
In the last 5 years.
It's gotten worse.
It's gotten so much worse.
Right.
Yes.
So starting at the end, you look at the economy, okay? Mm-hmm. And you know where I'm heading with this.
I do.
You know where I'm heading with this.
I do. We've had this conversation a million times.
Right. So you start at the end and say, look at the local economy first.
Logistics.
Yeah. You look at the local economy and see the jobs. And then you ask the next question. Why are the schools so bad?
Right.
Why are we always having a fight for schools and better schools and it never happens? Well, once you look at the local economy, you realize that better schools are never going to come. It's going to always be a fight.
Well, no, because FedEx needs workers, UPS needs workers, and now Amazon is here. Amazon needs workers, Nike needs workers.
And every other logistics company in our area. Mm-hmm. So it's why will we educate people when this is the type of worker we need?
You wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
It's not good for your economy.
It's not good for the local economy.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you ask me, that's just me, my theory, how I feel about it. The fate of our city or of Memphis is going to always be this. The schools are never going to get better. Crime may not ever get better.
At this point, I don't think that it will. I mean,
never will.
Memphis is heading in a trajectory of that of like Detroit, right?
Yep.
You had the big car makers there, right, before they were sent overseas or whatnot. Mm-hmm. But the same things happened there.
Correct. But in most urban places, I don't know about all urban places, but I would imagine that it's the same everywhere. You look at the local economy, the jobs that need a certain type of worker, They need that worker, and they will never focus on the academics of the school or how quality the schools are. And and the majority of schools that's going to always do well close to those communities are always going to be on the outskirts.
So what you're saying is our public school system is sealing the fate of children
every day.
I mean, well, so like, wait, what? Do you remember what the statistic was? I don't remember the exact. I can find it and do it in another episode later. But if a child can't read by the time they leave second grade, third grade. Okay, so you know where I'm going with this.
Third grade.
If a child can't read by the time they leave third grade, they're more. What was it, like 60% more likely to end up in prison?
Yeah, somewhere around. I think a little bit higher. I think it's higher than that.
So I guess my question is, why are we not parents, schools? It's not just on schools, right? I will never blame just the school system. But so why are we not working harder to make our children more intelligent? So does that mean that we as parents, along with the school system, are helping seal our children's fate?
Oh yeah, definitely. Just like the last episode was about, purpose. You can when you can deny somebody purpose. You ask me, you're sealing their faith in.
I agree with that.
If you deny somebody purpose, you're going to seal their fate. And they don't have many choices. And you know how this happens. You make enough bad choices. If you make one bad choice that's bad enough, it could seal your fate at the age of 15.
Oh, yes. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It can. But as an adult, you don't realize how many bad decisions you've made until it was too late.
Yes.
That's when we end up realizing that, like, damn, it's over. I mean, can you still make an adjustment? Yes, we can all make an adjustment. We can all be who and whatever we want to be. But when we think about fate as the end, sometimes our end comes after we see that we can't do nothing about it. The older we get, the harder it is to change it. Correct.
No, correct. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I do.
Can we? Yes, we can. We can change it. We can change it. We can change it. But damn, it's going to be hard.
Well, it's like whenever you get to be, 30, 35 years old, you've been working hard-ass jobs your whole life. You got maybe 3 or 4 kids, a couple of either baby mamas, baby daddies to deal with. That's stressful by itself. I mean, having one is bad, but damn. Now I got 2, 3 to worry about and deal with. I got to fight with these people on a daily basis. And now I want to do better for myself and for my children. But now I got these other 2, 3, 4 obstacles in my way. You sealed your own fate. I mean, that's my opinion, right? Because unless you are someone who can really, dig your feet in and get dirty, right? And just pull yourself up.
Do you know anybody like that who pulled themselves out?
Actually, I do. Well, I can think of, I'm sure I know more than one, but there's one I can think of. I went to high school with her. Like, sis was pregnant 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. She couldn't come to prom because she was in labor. Yeah. Now, she was pregnant by the same guy, right? Every one of those years. But she's a nurse today. She's a nurse practitioner. So in my opinion, she dealt with one dude, but the fact that she had kids starting at 15, sis life was hard. It didn't have to be, right? It didn't have to be that. But it took her until we're damn near 40 to finish her degree because she just did this. Like, I was just congratulating her on Facebook. I'm not going to say her name. I'm not going to out anybody. But, correct. And I was like, sis, you went through hell to get here, but sis, you did it. Like, you should be damn proud of yourself because she had to fight for that damn degree. It was hard. Think about it. You got a girl who is 3 years older than our daughter who had her first child and had a child every year after that. And what's worse is she was messing with a dude who was in his 20s when she was freaking 15. He could have very well sealed that girl's fate. And for a long time, he did. Yeah. But free will. She made a choice. She waited till her kids got to high school, graduated or got to high school, and then she went back to school. But she had to start from pretty much nothing. She had to start all the way over. But that's a good example of free will, though. That's my point. Yeah, but it's a great example because she was not supposed to. She was not supposed to, but she did it. But I think that she didn't get the message that she wasn't supposed to be successful either. That she wasn't supposed to make it. She didn't get the message. She was told it. She didn't listen to it. Yeah.
That's what I like.
Somebody left that voicemail and sis deleted it.
Yeah.
She didn't keep it.
Yeah. Now that's a hell of a story. Right
Yeah.
there.
Like, I'm super, super proud of her. Like, I've known her since like 6th, 7th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just conversation, just to put it even into more perspective. There are movies, that explain this whether we see it or not.
I'm not a movie buff.
You don't have to be a movie buff, but everybody's seen one of these movies though.
Our movie friend is not here.
No, he's not here, but he will be one day. He will be one day.
Shout out to Steven.
Yeah, Steven. Yeah, that's for you. But it was Pulp Fiction.
Oh, I love Pulp Fiction. Okay.
It's Pulp Fiction.
Who we talking about?
We talking about Vincent and Jules.
I knew it. Okay.
It's Vincent and Jules. It was the moment when he was shot at, and they were shot at, and the bullets went around him.
Divine intervention.
Divine intervention. He said, so are you telling me that God came down here and stopped these bullets? And he said, yes, God came down here and stopped these motherfucking bullets. That's exactly what I'm saying. So to get to the point, okay, y'all, is this right here. We had a scenario with those two. One was determinism or fate, and the other one was free will. Mm-hmm. Jules, it was straight free will.
Yes.
Because he was a hitman. He was always supposed to be a hitman. There was nothing else better for him to do out there in the world.
No, but he was a damn good hitman.
But he was a damn good hitman.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Vincent, he was a hitman. He's supposed to be one for the rest of his life. That's what he's supposed to do. Matter of fact, he even presented to him. He said, so what you going to do? You walk out there, he said, you're just going to be a fucking bum. That's what you're going to be, a fucking bum. He said, I'm just going to walk out here like Cain. I'm just walk. You know what? But with that being the case, Jules didn't die.
Jules did not die.
He did not die. But you know who did?
Vincent.
Vincent died.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Free will?
Yeah, there was free will. Jules made a damn choice. He said, you know what? I've been doing this, but I don't have to. I don't have to do this forever.
But you know that you're making my case for free will, right?
But I also made the case for determinism too. Because you know what? Vincent died.
Vincent did die.
Vincent died because he didn't change. Cause and effect. Whatever made him that way, he stayed that way. And he made a decision to stay that way. So actually, not am I making your case, I made my case and I won.
Did you?
I did. You know why?
No.
You know why? Because they both exist. We always try to act like they can't coexist.
They do. They do.
But they do.
They do.
But they do.
I don't think this is not fate versus free will is not a black and white thing, right? It's not. It's really not. It's kind of like one of those necessary evils. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
They have to, they're like yin and yang, right? They balance each other. You cannot have everything fated or everything to be free will. It doesn't work if you do. You have to have balance in all things. You know me. You have to have balance in all things, right? Now, that being the case, I chose free will, right? I have another relative who I love dearly who is into everything they were told. Super duper grown now. They still have no idea what to do with their life.
Yeah.
Because someone told them what they should be, what they could be, or more so, what they wouldn't be.
All right.
And it's what that wouldn't be is what they have become. I don't subscribe to that.
So, question. Where do you think all this started at?
I have thought about that so many times. I really, really have.
This debate of free will and, determinism versus free will. Where do you think it started at?
I guess technically, if we're speaking about writings, it would go back to the Bible, technically speaking.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I don't know when it started being debated outside of that, but If you read the Bible, pick a version, any version. Doesn't really matter which one you read, right?
Pick a version, any version. Which one you want to pick?
You get a version. You get a version. You get a version. But it doesn't really matter which version you read. Faith and free will goes all the way back to Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Right? Because somebody bit the damn fig.
Yeah, but I guess
Cain and Abel. He killed his brother. That was a choice.
It was, but that thing with I agree with you with that one. With this because that's as far as I can go. When I know the debate is maybe because that's the one we have all the time anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, it all started because they had free will. Adam and Eve, had free will to bite the fruit.
Yes.
Whether it was a fig, an apple, a peach, a banana, I don't know.
A pear.
It don't matter. It was something that they chewed on. Okay.
Some sweet fruit.
It really doesn't matter, but they did it.
Yeah.
But I think that this is partly where me and everybody else would definitely part ways.
Uh-oh. You're going to be controversial, aren't you? Do it.
Maybe.
Do it.
Maybe. But I believe that whole thing was, I ain't going to say the whole thing, because my whole argument is this right here. It's determinism or free will, and, determinism and free will can coexist. They do.
They do.
They really do.
It's cause and effect in all things.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But with that being the case, I believe there was more determinism. The outcome of them biting that fruit was predetermined more than anything.
They were a part of the game?
I do believe that was a part of a game.
Because you can't live in a utopia forever?
No, you can't.
I know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you can't live in a utopia forever. So it was many things that was in place, if you ask me, that made them in a position to bite that, to eat the fruit. They was going to eat their fruit regardless. So what we have is a tree with a fruit that they can't touch in plain sight. Mm-hmm. For one, it's there.
I mean, but in the beginning, though, it was hidden in plain sight, correct? Until the serpent came?
Right. Then we had the serpent, but that serpent could have been anywhere.
It could have been.
But it was exactly where they were.
It was where it needed to be.
It was where it needed to be.
Where it needed to be put.
And God was all knowing. He knew everything. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't any surprise that it was going to happen. Mm-mm. But this is what was it some free will in there? Yes. There was only a little bit, but not much. Because let's be real, Adam and Eve didn't know much.
No, they did not. They were
totally
innocent and naive. Yeah, like a child.
They were.
Like a baby.
Like this right here. Give you an example. Or a scenario. We got our son. Okay? Mm-hmm. We got our son, 3 years old. If we leave markers out, okay, we go leave some markers out and say, hey, son.
Don't touch these markers.
Don't touch these markers. You know what's going to happen with those markers? Our
walls are not going to be white.
They're not. Mm-hmm. No, they're not.
And is that his fault?
Yeah, it's going to be a chaos painting.
But it's going to be a Pollock.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But would that be his fault?
No, it wouldn't. Because we shouldn't have put it out there anyway.
I agree. I'm with you, yes.
We shouldn't have put it out there if we didn't want him to do that in the first place.
I agree because...
we shouldn't put all things in the way to make that outcome happen if we didn't want it to happen.
I agree with you.
So, yes.
Cause and effect determinism, huh?
Right, it was. But the free will, the innocence of the free will was used against them.
It was.
Because they knew no different.
They were manipulated.
They were.
Groomed, if you will.
They didn't know anything about consequences. They didn't.
They didn't.
They didn't know that.
They did not.
But they had to bite that fruit. And the reason why I say it was determinism and free will, but more so predetermined than anything, because life didn't begin.
Until they left the garden.
Until they left the garden.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. If anyone wants to say, God don't play games, well, ask Job. That's another one for another day. Well, ask Job.
Yeah.
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 Ask him.
Abraham too.
So that right there, that started. Life wouldn't have started if they never bit that fruit in the first place. So they had to bite the fruit. So yeah, it was definitely predetermined. That outcome was predetermined.
So not only was that outcome predetermined, this goes back to our past episode as well, our first episode, that was their purpose. If their purpose was to initiate and begin life, they couldn't do that being innocent.
They couldn't. They couldn't have done it.
It's not what happens in innocence.
It's not.
And it was only after they left the garden that these things became a sin.
Yep.
So their purpose, their purpose was to be used. I mean, I'm just being real, right? Their purpose was to be used and manipulated so that all life could begin.
I'm not going to say the purpose was to be used and manipulated.
Okay. That's kind of what you just explained, but okay.
All right. That's
Thank
fine.
you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Whatever.
Mm-hmm. That's what you explained. I'm just summarizing.
Yeah.
I'm just giving cliff notes.
But they was played from the beginning.
They were, very much so.
Yeah.
But that goes back to...
And that's just me I'm not adding anything to this.
No, you can read it.
Yeah, it's there.
It's in free text. It's right there in plain text.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
It was, I'm not adding, I'm not, giving a narrative of anything that's not there. I'm not doing what preachers normally do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I said that.
Oh, you took shots.
Yeah, I did. Put narratives on things that aren't there. We know how that happens.
So it's funny. It's funny you say that, right? Because real quick, before you go on with that, because it fits Adam and Eve story you're talking about. There's another quote that I wanted to mention. It just falls into place right here by Henry Miller. I read to you earlier regarding fate. Destiny is what you're supposed to do in life. Fate is what kicks you in the ass to make you do it. So that serpent that made Eve bite that fruit became her fate.
Yeah.
It's what kicked her in the ass to make her go ahead and do it. And that is what started life.
Yeah. That's what started it.
Yeah.
But the roles that the serpent and God played wasn't too much different from Greek mythologies. Like the oracles. If nothing was ever said,
It would never happen.
it never would have happened.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I found that very interesting that there's a lot of similarities with that one, with their story and how some of these other stories happen. Like with the story of, is not to get in depth about the story of Oedipus, you know what I'm saying? But this was the one in Greek mythology. The king, a king went to the oracles and the oracles told him, I was like, hey, one day, your son is going to kill you and
Marry your wife.
and marry your wife.
Yeah.
And so the king got rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
He got rid of him. And then one day along the path, the son ended up killing the king, which was,
he didn't know was his father.
that he didn't know was his father. And then after he did that, he ended up marrying
His mother.
the king's wife, which was his mother. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, the question is, just like the Oracle in the Matrix said, would it have happened if I hadn't said anything?
See, and that is my issue with fate, right? It's because if it has to be spoken for it to happen, right?
Yeah.
How is it a real thing? Like I'm not saying that fate is not real, right? All I'm saying is, if someone has to whisper this in my ear, or if someone has to spin this narrative to me in some way, if I never hear it, will it happen?
Well, I ask you this: who's actually spinning the narratives today?
Honestly, see that is a question for another episode and another day. But
No, I don't think so. You know
but
why?
I mean, it depends on. It depends on the industry you're in and what you do.
You know what? I don't think so.
So what are you saying? Start talking with parents? Are you saying start talking with the parents?
No, I don't.
What?
You know who's spinning these narratives to us?
Who?
Us.
No, you think?
We are. We are predicting our own outcomes. Like these oracles in these stories, that's us. Because we don't have oracles telling us what the outcome of our life is.
Excuse me, but tarot readers will disagree with you.
Okay, well, that's fine. And until we come across one. Many of us don't. Many of us don't. Okay, let's get that, make that clear. Many of us ain't gonna come across a tarot reader. But no, we are the oracles. And I'll tell you this right here, and it's not to go into detail about anything, but some big things in my life that I tried to stop, I tried to prevent from happening. Mm-hmm. It happened exactly the way
Try to prevent it.
I tried to prevent it from happening.
Yep.
And you know it.
Yep.
Several times.
Yep.
The exact thing I didn't want to happen, it happened exactly the same way.
So we are the stealers of our own fate because we are our own oracles.
We are.
So I guess
because I was always wondering what role did the oracles play if we were related to our day-to-day life. What role did the oracles play, and where are they? It's us. And so wherever we end up because we are telling ourselves we're trying to prevent something from happening. We're always trying to prevent something from happening.
I'll give you that.
We're always trying to.
Kind of like the child who doesn't want to be like their parents and goes out of their way to avoid being like their parents, only to end up being just like their parents.
That is correct. That's right. So, is there anything that you want everybody to know before we close the show out, Ben?
No, more so I want to leave you with a thought to ponder on. If fate is playing chess, what piece on the board are you, and what piece do you want to be?
All right. Well, that's a question to take with you, everyone. This has been the Student Life Podcast. Live and learn. Life is a lesson.